Hey guys, what is going on, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. I'm your late night spooky friend Mike, and I hope you guys are having the best day ever. Before I get started guys, please subscribe if you are new here and you haven't already done that. We're on the road to 151,000 subscribers, and I would love you to join me on this journey, so hit subscribe and join the fam. But what is going on, you guys? Welcome back, and today we're taking a look at another scary story. And this scary story is called The Maggot. So, the story of the maggot. Why is this so funny to me? Okay, let's try this again. Oh, I got a text message. Okay, it's just Tina. Alright. Pull yourself together, Mike. This is supposed to be scary. The Maggot. The Maggot is a scary, true story about a man who sees a huge glowing worm emerge from a grave in a cemetery. It is supposedly a true story that happened years ago in England, and a version of the story appeared in The Glowing Maggot of Doom in Ghosts, Ghouls, and Other Horrors. But enough of the jibber jabber, let's jump right over to the story. The Maggot. One bright moonlit night in a small Yorkshire village, a postman named Mr. Mullen was on his way home. As he was walking past the graveyard, something caught his attention. He noticed a luminous glowing kite coming from one of the graves. It was the fresh grave of a villager by the name of Mr. Peters, who had recently died. When he looked closer, he realized that it was a large, slimy blob that was crawling out of the grave, and it was wriggling back and forth as it emerged. It looked like a huge, luminous maggot. The ghastly thing seemed to exude pure evil. With a mixture of horror and fascination, Mr. Mullins watched as the maggot slithered along the ground, leaving a gleaming trail of disgusting slime behind it, snaking in and out of all the tombstones. The monstrous thing crawled out of the graveyard, and when it came to the vicar's house nearby, it disappeared from sight. The following day, Mr. Mullins told his wife and his best friend about the chilling experience. That night, the three of them decided to go down to the graveyard. They wanted to see if they could figure out what the hideous apparition might be. They waited and waited, and just as it had the night before, the dreadful worm oozed out of Peter's grave and made its way out of the cemetery. As they watched, the thing crawl to the door of the vicar's house again and disappeared. The next day, the Mullins and their friend got a severe shock when they heard that the vicar and his entire family had suddenly become seriously ill. As the hours ticked by, their condition grew worse and worse, and by the sunset, the vicar and his entire family were dead. The doctor who examined them said they had died of ptomaine poisoning. This is the type of poisoning that is caused by exposure to a putrefying corpse. Mullins, his wife, and their friend were more determined than ever to get to the bottom of this horrible apparition's origin. After dark that night, they ventured out once again to the village graveyard to keep watch. Again, the hideous glowing maggot wriggled out of the grave and slithered between the tombstones, leaving a trail of slime in its wake. This time, as they followed it, they saw it go to the house of the village blacksmith. When it got to the front door, it suddenly vanished. The next morning, the blacksmith and his whole family became ill, and just like the vicar and his family, they died before sunset of ptomaine poisoning. Frightening and more baffled than ever, Mullins and his companions decided to keep watch again that night, but nothing happened. Although they were relieved, they decided to continue their nightly vigil at the graveyard for at least another week, just in case. 10 nights after it had first appeared, the glowing maggot emerged from the grave again and crawled out of the graveyard. Mr. and Mrs. Mullins realized to their horror that it was going in the direction of their house. They followed it, and when the maggot got to the front door of their house, it disappeared. The couple were horrified and then ran into their house looking around. They found no trace of the maggot, and when they went upstairs, they found their 5-year-old son sleeping peacefully in his bed. The couple breathed a sigh of relief and went back downstairs. The next morning, however, when Mr. Mullins and his wife went to wake their son, they found that he was extremely sick. The little boy was seized by a fit of vomiting, and within an hour, he was dead. Stricken with grief and filled with anger, Mullins and his wife wanted revenge. The grave the maggot had crawled out of was the grave of a man named Peters. After asking around, they found out that in life, he had been mean, vicious, and a detestable man. He made life miserable for his neighbors, and he had a particular dislike for both the vicar and the blacksmith. That night, they paid another visit to the graveyard, and this time, they were armed with a shovel and gasoline. They dug up the grave of Peters, pulled out the coffin, cracked open the lid. Holding the lantern, they peered inside and saw the face of the corpse. Mr. Peters grinned at them. His body had not decayed at all, and there was a look of malevolence and intense evil frozen on his twisted face. They took one look at him and slammed the lid down in horror. After regaining their nerves, they dragged the coffin to a nearby field, threw back the lid, and poured gasoline all over the corpse. Mullins struck a match and threw it on the corpse, which burst into flames. Mullins and his wife stood there watching the blaze until the coffin and the corpse inside were reduced to ashes. After scattering his remains with a shovel and sprinkling them with holy water, they returned to the grave and filled it again. Although they kept a vigil for several days afterwards, the strange glowing maggot of doom was never seen again.
And that is the end of that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this story. I have no idea what to think of this. I don't know, maybe it was just some kind of radioactive friggin' alien that came out of the grave. But considering it killed the vicar and the blacksmith, which is both two people that Mr. Peters, the guy buried in that grave, was said to hate them both. So I have a feeling that it was some kind of curse. I don't know. I feel like the guy died with so much hatred and everybody hated him that his spirit has come back as a glowworm, I guess, or whatever the freaking green thing is. And it's just like, it's toxic, it's poisonous, and it's going around killing people off one by one. That's the only way I can make sense of this. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but it's still a pretty good story. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash a like on it. Let's see if we can go for 40,000 likes on this video. I would really appreciate that. And my question to all of you for question of the day is, what do you think this was? What do you think happened here? Like, the green glowworm, the whatever it is, the little woolly worm? I don't know what it was. What do you think it was, and why do you think it was going from his grave and killing off his in-life enemies? Let me know in the comment section. That is question of the day. But thank you all so much for watching. I love you all, and remember the most important thing, chase your dreams, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoy my videos and you would like to support me and my channel more, you can go over to my Patreon. Link is in the description. I would really appreciate any help you guys have to offer, and you can become a patron of mine over there. As you can see, we have different tiers and different rewards, so if you guys want to go check it out, I would really appreciate that. Every little helps. Thank you so much. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss any future uploads. And also, guys, go follow me on all my social media. Links are in the description. I have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and even Snapchat, so go follow me on all of those. And remember, the most important thing, I love you guys, and chase your dreams.